Hello, hi. So I just finished reading Under the Red Hood, the DC Compact version, and so I just wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts and feelings on this book. Yeah. Okay, so for context, I first started with this one. So when I was gonna read this book, I didn't realize that there was kind of like a newer prequel that happens between Death and Family, this, and then it's into this. I don't have a physical version of Death in the Family, but I would love to get one day. But like, this is such a good book, especially if you're a Jason Todd fan. I highly recommend getting this book. It's like exactly what happens to him once he gets out the grave, and kind of like the journey. I did talk about this a bit in my last post in a more of a like essay format of kind of like why I love this book and like what it means. But like you can see here, just like this is like him straight out of the, give me a second. All right, you can see here that he like comes straight out of the grave, and this pretty much like into like the second chapter of the book. And this, all of this is kind of explained at the end of Death in the Family. On like the last chapter of it explains what happens. So right here, the explosion, and all of this is like at the end of the original book. But something I did learn is that this was written during the Infinite Crisis. So Jason's return is because of Superman Prime like punching some sort of mirror dimension, and then this one redoes it in the more New 52 era, where he just kind of comes out and then Talia drops him into the pit. I mean, both versions he gets dropped into the pit, but I think this version is a lot better. Also, maybe because I wasn't reading comics back then. I also don't think, I think this came out in 05, so I was like 1 year old. So I definitely wasn't reading comics out of one, but this one's a lot better in the explanation. I also think it was kind of random just having Superman pop up there. Obviously, at the time, it probably wasn't random, but for me now, it kind of just was like, oh, okay, cool. We're just gonna have Superman punch his way and kind of like resurrect Jason. So here it is, Superman Prime. He's like punching, and then like magic dust comes and awakens Jason from the dead. So yeah, that was one part that was like, okay, cool. And I don't hate it, but I was like, okay. Another thing that I realized that they keep doing in all these stories is Talia is just like trying to lock lips with Jason in every story. We have it also here, and then show. All right, and then she does it like here as well. So I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like Talia. But overall, to actually tell the actual story, Jason comes back from the dead. He is the Red Hood. He is like killing all of Batman's like rogues gallery, especially Black Mask, and he's kind of like crippling crippling all of Gotham's like criminal underground. And basically by the end of it, Bruce realizes that, hey, like, I'm also trying to figure out if Jason Todd is actually alive or not, because I buried him and now he is back from the dead. And honestly, the reveal of like Bruce figuring out that it's Jason happens a lot earlier than I think. Like, this is it here, and as you can tell, this is like halfway through the book, and then the other half is really just like Jason doing Red Hood things and kind of Batman going back and forth whether or not he actually wants to stop him, or like conflicted like how he's going to stop him, and also figuring out if this is actually Jason or not. Because at the end of the Hush book, which I actually added it here, Jason kind of paid Hush to work with him and to mess with the Batman, and so he then falsified his look through here, and this is from the Hush book, but they just popped it in at the end of this one. And then at the end he was like, oh no, it's Clayface, but really it was Jason who's kind of behind it the whole time, but he did it just to mess with Bruce's head. And I thought that was super cool to tie it all in together. So already that kind of like planted the seed of like, could Jason be alive, but also it was Clayface, but also how did Clayface get the face of Jason if he was older, because like Clayface only can manifest power like from visual looking, and so it was him kind of going through the loop of like trying to figure out whether or not it was. And then obviously Alfred, there was like a cool section where Alfred is just like, oh, we collected books with Jason and Dick and Bruce, and it was like their own little book club thing. And then like he got a like little package, and it was a book from Jason. And I thought that was a little cool, because I think everyone thinks Jason's just like this hard hitting, like rugged person, but at the end he's like really a sentimental person, and he really does care about family. Another book that I've been also reading that ties into this, I will pull it up. This book or issue, which is Red Hood Rebirth, Red Hood and the Outlaws Rebirth, that kind of ties into like Jason's like sentimentalness. Is like there's a photo that he took with Bruce when he first became Robin. He kind of graduated to like be the Robin, and so even years after as Red Hood, this is like the end of the issue, he still keeps it. And I thought that was super cool, because again, I feel like Jason gets mischaracterized often as like this hard, rugged person. Also, I find when like people talk about him and his relationship with the Bat family, everyone's like he is very like tough and kind of like heartless in a way, but really he's not. I think he obviously has a lot of trauma and he has to deal with a lot, so there is times that he is, but overall I don't think, at least in my head, that he's like someone who's just like grr all the time. But no, I think this, to like wrap this up, this is my favorite like Batman story, and I would say one of my favorite comic book stories as well. Jason is my favorite Bat family member, and I think that like these two books, and then if I had Death in the Family, I would add that, and Hush, but more so like these three would be like a good start into getting who Jason Todd is and kind of getting into his mind. And then like this is also a good follow-up, because this book is him in the Bat family, or as Bat family adjacent, which is also a really good story, because he's still doing Red Hood things, but now on a non-lethal side, and I think that is pretty cool. And again, shows that like even though he has a very violent streak, this is him fighting the mayor. Even though he has like a pretty violent streak, I think he's still pretty likable, and I think he's still a great character. I don't know, I hope that makes sense. But yeah, that is everything. I hope this all makes sense. I'm trying to make this kind of often. If anytime I finish a book, I kind of want to talk about it and try to like push out more content around comics. But yeah, I hope this video is good. I don't know. Bye.